Was there a universe before human minds perceived it? I'm afraid the situation is much worse than that. There isn't a universe as it is normally conceived, even when humans do seem to be perceiving it. What we call the universe is what the activity of infinite consciousness, not the object, the activity or the imagination of infinite consciousness looks like when perceived from our localized perspective. So, what is it that is perceiving? It is consciousness that is perceiving. In other words, the essence of that which perceives and the essence of that which is perceived is the same. They are the same indivisible, infinite whole or reality. Now, what is it that seems to fragment this whole or reality into an apparent multiplicity and diversity of objects known from the perspective of a separate self? It is thought and perception, the finite mind. It is consciousness that, so to speak, puts on a virtual reality headset made of thought and perception, and it refracts itself into a multiplicity and diversity of objects that we call the universe. But in the absence of that VR headset made of thought and perception, there is no longer a separate subject of experience, nor a multiplicity and diversity of objects. There is just infinite consciousness. So what we call the universe is what the activity of infinite consciousness looks like when perceived through the virtual reality headset of thought and perception.
So, what was there before humans came on the scene? Or was there anything there?
There was no before humans came on the scene, because it is thought that makes eternity appear as time. There is no time. It is only thought. So what we call the absence of time, what we sometimes call now, is eternity. It's not in time, it has no dimensions, but refracted through the prism of thought, eternity appears as time. Even when there seems to be time, there is in fact not really any time. But in the absence of thought, that is, in the absence of the appearance of time, there is no time, and therefore no before.
That's beautiful. So then, therefore, you don't buy the whole scientific view of the 13.7 billion years of cosmic evolution.
No, it's another story, and it's a perfectly valid story. It's a creation myth, and it is a creation myth that is consistent with the belief that what we perceive through the sense perceptions, through thought and perception, is real and in its own right. So it is only from the perspective of common sense, from the perspective of the belief that our thoughts and our perceptions give us an accurate model of reality. This creation myth, the Big Bang, is true only from that perspective, because it is true according to the limitations of that perspective. What I think is a more accurate, but not completely accurate model, because there are no completely accurate models, but what I think is a more accurate model, and one that is consistent with our experience, is this. First of all, we have to understand that time is never experienced. Just very quickly, because I want to make sure this is experiential and not abstract and philosophical. Just all of you try, just for a moment, to step out of the now and visit the place we call the past. See if you can do that. Just step a few seconds out of the now and go to the place we call the past, or indeed the future. Did any of you manage to leave the now and visit the past? So, have any of you ever visited the past? I don't mean to say that you don't have an image or memory of the past, but that takes place now. I mean, to actually go to the place, visit the place that we call the past. So, nobody, not just those of us that are interested in these matters, none of the 7 billion of us have ever or could ever visit the place we call the past or the future. In other words, the past and the future are never experienced. So we have to rethink what we call the present. The present is not a moment. We sometimes hear in New Age circles about staying in the present moment. There is no present moment. The present is not a moment. The present, what we call now, does not last in time. There is no time present for the now to last in. Now is eternity. So, with this in mind, reconsider the theory of the Big Bang that supposedly existed 13.8 billion years ago. Consider that the now is not moving along a line of time. There is no time for the now to move along. Now is in relation to the line of time, it is a vertical axis. It is ever present now. So all that is contained, any memory that is contained in the mind is present now. It is not present. It is present in the depths of the psyche now. It was not something that took place 13 billion years ago. The only time when anything takes place is the now. This now, the only now there is. And therefore consider the possibility that the creation of the universe, or that the event that is referred to as the Big Bang, is something that takes place now. Why don't we experience it? Because due to the limitations of our finite mind, all the finite mind can be aware of is this waking state experience. And because of the glare of the waking state, the depths of the psyche are obscured. We all know this from our personal experience. There are layers of feeling in us that we are not aware of most of the time because of the exclusive focus of our attention on our thoughts and perceptions. But as soon as we turn away from those thoughts and perceptions, the deeper layers of our own psyche comes up into the light of awareness. Well, consider that if you were to go further down, so to speak, to dig deeper into the depths of the psyche, through the personal unconscious, through the collective unconscious, you would be going not back in time, but into the very recesses, the very origin of the psyche. So I would suggest that the moment that is called, this creation myth about the Big Bang is a creation myth that explains what I've just explained, but references it in terms of the time and space that seem to be real from the perspective of the finite mind.